let's do the shell casing.
Okay. So I'm going to do the shell casing next. So now I got to switch things over because now I'm going to switch to a mandrel. This is the only time I use a mandrel.
First step, take the powder out.
First step, knock primer out. So you got to know
Yes.
somebody that you either got to buy once fired cases or you have to find somebody that reloads rifle shells like myself. And I happen to load 308 and 30-06, so you can use 308 or 30-06 cases. 30-06 are a little tougher because you got to drive the pen mechanism into the case a little ways. They can be a little more problematic because your pen insert, the actual pen part, isn't long enough to the length of the case. So there's my drive center that I was just using.
Yep.
It's a 60-degree drive center. Somebody could put it, I got this off of Amazon. If somebody wants to put a link, to go ahead. I think I paid like $10 for it, maybe.
Yep, that's the price.
So now, when I do these cases, I am going to switch to a mandrel saver, and I'll slide this ahead so you can see it. This is my mandrel saver. It saves a lot on your mandrels. It takes the pressure off the mandrel. Takes the side pressure, the end pressure off the mandrel. So now I'm going to put that in my headstock. I'll adjust my camera just a little. You guys can see it a little better right there. Now I'm going to push this up. On this end, I have a bushing that I've made out of one I've damaged that is exactly the same size as the butt end of that shell casing. You can put the shell casing on the lathe if you want to and use that as your guide, but if you hit it with your tool, you're going to peel the brass and it's going to look funny. So I just made my own bushing out of another bushing, and I used one of my old carbide tools to make the bushing. Now, hopefully this doesn't blow up, because I'm not sure. It says spalted, so I have no idea what this is. Spin it by hand. I'm going to turn my light back on so I can see my bushing. I'm still going to use the same carbide tools as I used before. Going to make sure I'm on center with the tool. Don't have quite enough pressure. Can you hear that sound? Can you hear that hum?
No, it's muffled. It's
Muffled?
muffling it.
Okay, it sounds like a hum, like a motor hum. That's when you know you got enough pressure on the mandrel. So you're pushing on the blank rather than on the mandrel. You're pushing this way towards the headstock with your tailstock. Gonna give it just a little more. And I do get nice curly shavings. A little bit, let's see. There. I do get curly shavings. I don't know if you can see that when I'm turning, but I am getting curly shavings. And on the square cutter, I use the outside corners to rough with. And then I'll come back and use the center of the cutter to do the actual smoothing. So you can see you can use that like a parting tool too. Or a skew. You can use the tool like a skew. So on this end, I got to cut it down to a 7mm bushing. On this end, I'm not sure what it is. It's like 3/8 of an inch. So I'm just tapering this now to make my taper. See how smooth I got it. Oh, not too bad for whatever it is. Got a lot of cracks in it. So I got a lot of cracks in it. I'm going to stop there. I have some black CA glue. Find my activator. So I have some black Starbond, and I'm going to fill these cracks in with that Starbond. This has got, I don't know, it's like it's a burl, and it's got all kinds of cracks in it. I'm kind of surprised it didn't explode, actually.
We're glad it didn't.
Yeah, me too. They didn't make up an extra one of these.
You're about out of face shields too, aren't you?
Yes, I'm out of face shields too. They'll be here on Saturday though. Now I got.
Did he freeze out or did I freeze out? Okay, there it is.
Hey, Scott, you
I
need
think
to
I'm
shoot
still
your
on,
wife
Lena.
Scott, shoot your wife a message and tell her to get offline.
She's actually not home.
Oh, okay.
She's actually, my wife teaches card classes. So she makes greeting cards. So Wednesday is her greeting card class day. So this works out great for being on here. We're usually not on at the same time. And because I have this down so far and seen the cracks so close to the end, I'm just gonna sand them smooth, which normally I wouldn't do. But I'm almost down to the bushing on this end. And same thing on this end. So there, now it's ready for, I'll do my CA, I'll show you how I do my CA finish. It's ready there. I will just touch it with some with some 220 and a little 320, which I have some off to the side here ready. Just to make sure I ain't got any big scratches in it. I don't know what this is, but it sure smells good. That was 220. I'll just touch it a little with a little 320. Pretty good. And we need a clean piece of paper towel. I'm going to wipe this down with a little denatured alcohol. And I'm gonna come back with a little 400 to knock the grain down, because denatured alcohol will raise the grain slightly. Okay, now I'm gonna do my CA finish. I'm gonna put some rubber gloves on. Make sure I grab the 2 bottles I need. So when I do CA finish, I start out with thin. Put a coat of thin on first. Then I'll put coats of medium on until I get to wherever I want it to be. Whatever sheen I want it to be. Final sheen. So I'm just folding up some more of that paper towel again to make a buffing pad. And then I'm going to use my curing agent rather than using the spray cure. I'm going to use boiled linseed oil as my curing agent for the CA glue. Now it's really warm in my shop right now. Normally I wouldn't be doing these at 70 degrees. Just because I don't like the smell of the CA glue that much. It shears off fast. So the first coat of the thin I put on by hand, spin the lathe by hand, keep the paper towel moving so it don't stick. There's your first coat. And that's dry. That flashed over already. So now I'm gonna put the cap back on my, and you can see there's a shine on there already just from the thin. Now I'm gonna I cut my paper towel off. I'm gonna start with a fresh edge. Couple drops, put it on. That's the medium. Now, right where I just put that drop of CA on this piece of paper towel, I'm gonna put the boiled linseed oil on, right in the same spot. And now I'm gonna polish. And I polish till it burns the inside of my nose or makes my eyes water. Then I know the glue is flashed over. Normally I'd wear a mask, but you wouldn't be able to hear me. And I polish this till I feel the heat in my finger. When you feel the heat in your finger, you can stop. You can see in that piece of paper towel, there's a coating of plastic in that paper towel already. It's hard. It won't, it comes right back to its shape. Okay. Thought there was a spot on my camera. It's my black mouse showing up on my screen on my TV. Thought I put a piece of black CA glue on my camera screen. Tricked myself. So now I put the first two coats on without it spinning. Now I'm going to put this next coat on with it spinning. Put the linseed oil back on again. My flash over. And because it's so warm in my shop right now, this is flashing really fast. I'm going to keep going until my finger gets warm. Don't stop this paper, whatever you do. You stop the paper, it's stuck to the blank. And you'll get your sandpaper out and start over. But now it's hard again. I'll cut it off. And I keep track of these. I got a little bin on the side of my lathe where I keep some sandpaper and some other tools. And I cut them off and put them in there so I know how many coats I've put on. I'm gonna do the same procedure again. It's burning my nose. There we go. There's the shine. So now I'll come back, put the cap back on my stuff so I don't spill CA glue all over or linseed oil. How am I doing on time, Dane?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Now I don't micro mesh this. I go right straight to the car polish. I skip the micro mesh when I'm doing wood. Put that on, smear it in, make a mess. Looks like I had a little void in there. You can see I didn't quite get all the voids filled in right there. Well, if I can find my little brush again. Got another one in the drawer.
Watch how easy it is to put on new hands-free Skechers slip-ins. I just step.
So That's the top, and I'll leave that void in there. I kind of like it that way. Personal preference. And that's all I do to the wood tops. So now that'll fit the bottom of that shell casing. Now I'm going to take this off. Now there's a good chance that that bushing on that end is stuck on there. Just take it out to the end and just give it a little pop. It should come off. Dropped one under the lathe. I don't want to lose that. So now this part is essentially done. And look at the shine on that with just a few coats of CA glue and a little car polish. So if you're using Parfex, just to really make your Parfex shine, I'd use this car polish on it. It's probably going to heighten the gloss by 20-30% at least. I would think, maybe even as much as 50%, just over leaving it by itself. But that's up to you guys.
Very nice.
Scott,
So now we'll talk about how we make the shell casings, because there's a little trick to that too. So these shell casings, this one already has a tube glued in it. So you take a 7mm. If you want to do it in a drill press, you got to have a machinist vise in order to do that, which looks like.
I missed all of that.
Okay.
Froze
So
up.
if you want to drill this, Brenda, you have to do it either grab it with your spigot jaws and put a juck on your lathe and put spigot jaws in it and grab it as close to the end as you can, close to this end.
Okay.
Drill that hole for your 7mm tube, okay?
Okay.
If you want to drill it on a drill press, you have to have one of these.
hold
I'll
it
set
up
this
higher.
on the bed waist. I'm going to set it right there. So this is a machinist vise. It has V grooves cut in it and a locking bar that goes on either side. So your shell casings are tapered. So you have to grab them as close as you can to the end that you're going to drill. So this end that you're going to drill, you have to grab it within the first 1/4 inch, because that's the thickest part of the case and you won't crush it. And it's also the straightest part of the case. You can see on that case, the shine where it switches from, there's a little ring right here. Let me get these gloves off and I can show you a little better. Maybe. Get a little something for a little pointer. So when you resize these cases, they don't resize all the way to the bottom. This part of the case is hollow from right there
Yep.
to the back, from right for the tip of this tool to the back to the butt end. This is hard doing this backwards.
Looks like
To
there's a
this
little
end.
ridge.
Yep, there's a little ridge right here. This is solid. This is what you're drilling to get your tube in, okay? Now, you have to take some form of epoxy. You could wrap tape around it. You could use regular 1-minute epoxy. I used JB Weld on here because this case, the inside of that hole isn't 7mm. It's a little bigger. It's 20 thousandths bigger to be exact. So this flops around in here. So what I do to fix that problem is I put this on the lathe with some. So I let the epoxy harden. Put this on the lathe. And I just capture it between some bushings. Put this all back together again on the mandrel.
Can you move your camera up a little bit?
Sure. Can you see? This is what we're looking at right here. Okay. So we're going to turn that to fit in that hole so it's perfectly round. Or you
Scott,
could
can you-
sand it.
Scott, rotate your.
Go ahead,
camera up
Dane.
Just rotate your camera up just a hair. We barely got it. There you go.
Okay.
Better.
Good. Okay,
Yep.
now you can either sand this or you can turn this. I'm going to try turning it just because I'm brave today. So you have a 7mm bushing right here that you can use as a guide. So you want to be a little bigger than that 7mm bushing. And you got to get enough pressure on it to hold it, because you're only catching just the edge of that tube. This can be kind of a pain. I've wrapped tape around it. Tape works too, but this is a little easier.
Turning
JB,
weld.
JB weld machines real well. It stinks. It smells horrible, but it does machine pretty well. So now this is just a matter of trial and error. You just got to keep, unless you want to build a bushing, which I haven't done yet. I just lost the bushing, dropped it. So now I just keep machining this till that would fit inside of there. Okay. I won't go through all those steps. I'll go through and show you what I do to the casing now that it's already to that point. We're going to pretend that I got that in there, that I've glued that tube in there. Take that off. Now I'm going to put this on here. Now you can see that it's not wobbling around. Appears to be fairly straight. I'll put this all back together again. Now this is preference. Some people like them shiny. Some people like them antique looking, which is just the oil off your fingers. Can do that on the shell casings. If you want to polish them, I'll show you how to polish them.
I got a question real quick,
Go
Scott.
ahead.
How far down does that JB weld go down in that bullet casing?
It's going to go down the length of this neck.
Okay.
Okay. That's
Okay.
all the farther it goes, because that case is hollow inside and you're just trying to get it so that it fits into this neck. So
Okay.
you only need about a 1/4 inch of material. If you have more than that, that's fine, because this part of the neck is bigger.
Gotcha.
Don't worry about the first 1/4 inch. Okay. So if I set this up here, you can see how much you got to worry about.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Hmm.
So now I have a piece of 3000 grit wet dry sandpaper. I'm just going to dip this in the water so it's water polishing. I'm just going to polish this case. Don't use this sandpaper for anything else after you polish metal with it. You'll get black streaks in whatever you're dealing with.
Hmm.
So now you got a polished case. Now, if you want to keep it shiny, you can put CA glue on it, or you can wax it, and then eventually it'll just tarnish again from the oils on your hands. It'll stay shiny for quite a while. I don't like them shiny. I like them to look like they do when you buy them in the store. This is the way they look. I mean, they're not shiny normally. You can buy, if I can find them, in my mess. And you can buy these online at any online sporting goods store that handles reloading equipment. You can also buy them in chrome. And then you don't have to do any polishing. They already come chrome plated or nickel plated. Some companies use nickel, some companies use chrome. So it's the same brass shell. It works like brass. It's just got a chrome finish on it. So now I'll assemble this one, and you guys can have a couple choices. Let me get this off of here. And I'm bound and determined to lose that bushing.
Now that 7mm tube goes from one end to the other, right?
Yep. So yep. So a standard
You're hooked on
slimline
that
pen
cord.
blank. Yep, I felt it. A standard slimline pen kit works in these shell casings, okay? That's what I use as a standard slimline 2-piece pen kit.
Okay.
Knock this out of the way so we can see. I don't have to move the camera. So now, if you look in my little fancy box, you can buy them in copper. You can get them in copper, or you can get them in black. Now, some rifle bullets come coated black. I like the black look. So if you want to do copper or black, just let me know which one you want to do. Which would you like to see, copper or black?
Black.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this tube. You're getting black. So now I'm going to swing you over here. This is my homemade pen press that I've made myself. I've made probably 10 or 15 of these. So now you're just going to press this in here, just like you would build a regular pen.
Mhm.
A little spacer block in here so it bottoms out. There you go. Now the bottom's done for that part. Now you're going to take your transmission. I always make sure that the transmission's screwed all the way closed. Otherwise, you can wreck these transmissions when you press them together. That one's locked. That one you can see is screwed down. Can you see that? See how it's screwed down inside there?
Yep.
So that transmission is considered open. So the nib would be sticking, the pen point would be sticking through the nib. You want to press these in when it's closed like that. That keeps you from crushing the transmission when you put it in the pen press. Ask me how I know. Too many things in my way here. Before I spill this, slide this out of my way. My pen press, you notice the handle comes off, so it can be stored in a toolbox. Now you're just going to press this in here, and sometimes they go in really hard. Like this one.
And then they slip and go way too far in.
Nope, they break like this one just did.
Oh no.
Not a big deal. I've taken these apart so many times. And the nice part about this one is it didn't get in all the way. So now that one broke off where I can't get it out. I'm just going to take a drill bit and drill it out at some point, but I'll make one of these other ones that isn't polished. And so I like the unpolished ones. This one has a little bit of shine on the end because it was, when I ran it through the dye, it got a little shiny. That one's together. Yeah, let's see if we have any luck on this one. Biggest thing is getting them to push straight. That's what keeps you from bending them. That one's gonna go in.
Yeah.
So there's a line on that transmission. And you go just to the end of the line. And it just so happens I have a pen kit out here. And there you go. It's all put together. What did I do with the top now? So the top end, you can do whatever you want. I have chrome ones, I have black ones. I'm just gonna make this one chrome to match the black to match the bottom. And I gotta get a little more spacer. So everybody's got scraps of wood laying around for a spacer. Get it to screw out here. There you go. Finished rifle shell pen.
Wow.
Good job, Scott.
Absolutely great.
Nice. Scott.
Here
Nice.
too.
They look really good with the antler too.
Yes, I do make some with antler on the end too.